The Reserve List Top 10 edition this week has a few additional cards that players probably didn't expect to make the list. There has been renewed interest in a lot of Reserve List cards, and that's causing a surge of sales. The warning signs were there, and most players ignored them. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on the video today. And it's an interesting time in Magic the Gathering. With the One Ring found, the Great Experiment ending, and Wizards of the Coast is going to go on a bender with these types of products, some players are starting to look back at Reserve List cards. Now, for those who are unaware, the Reserve List has 572 cards on it. A lot of these cards you really can't play with. They're kind of pretty and stuff to look at, but they don't serve a purpose in the modern day of Magic. But some of the cards do. Some of them are downright deadly when used in certain combinations. So pay attention to those cards, and you usually do pretty good. And right now, with the prices as low as they are, somebody is paying attention. Some people are going to be buying these cards. And there's a few honorable mentions that are not on the list, but I want to make players aware of it before we start the video. Now, with the top 10, it is by volume. So it doesn't have to be a Power 9 or amazing card to make the list. It's by sheer volume of sales. But that doesn't mean that behind the scenes, higher end cards aren't trading hands. Somebody went out there and bought 14 Candelabra of Tanoses in one day. 14. Now, that's not enough to make the top 10 this week, but that kind of money at around $600 a card, you're talking thousands of dollars. Dual lands are not on the list this week, but they continue to move in the backdrop and change hands every day. These kinds of cards and these tens of thousands of dollars of items every single day may not make the list, but the movement is there. You can see it. It just isn't going to make the cut. So I want to mention that stuff because when you see a top 10 video, you see a 50-cent Reserve List card make 100 sales, and you say, that's nothing. But that's not the market. The market's going to do what it's going to do because it's unregulated. There's no oversight looking down saying, hey, what's going on? I'm only reporting on what I can see. Imagine the things that are going by in different countries or in private groups that I never get a look at. Unless somebody points it out sometimes, I can miss all kinds of stuff, but that doesn't mean that things aren't happening. This is not the be-all, end-all of MTG Finance. This is a peek, a door, a crack open to let you guys know what's happening out there. Never be surprised that there are big wolves out there hunting down the little rabbits of Reserve List cards and holding them hostage in their personal private collections. So with all that said, let's take a look at some great sales and some surprising entries into the Reserve List Top 10 this week. Starting out at number 10 this week is Fork Revised Edition with 27 sales June 24th to the 30th of 2023. This card has an average price of $42 US. The market price is $42.30 US, and it's €20, 35 cents to get this card into your house. This card continues to show strong sales week over week. It continues to make the top 10, always in the low 20s to early 30s sales range, and that just shows continuous upticks of sales, but not upticks in price, making it a very affordable option for players looking to get into some Reserve List cards that they can use inside Commander decks. Now, the number 9 card this week is Triangle of War. This card has gone through multiple buyouts in the last few years and now has continued to plummet in price. It has 30 sales this week, June 24th to the 30th, with an average price of $4.13 US, a market price of $3.84, or €1, 77 cents to get this card into your house. And of course, here in Canada, it's around a $7 card. For those who haven't taken a closer look at it, Triangle of War is a single casting cost artifact with 2 generic mana to use it. It says sacrifice Triangle of War, choose target creature you control and target creature an opponent controls. Each creature deals damage equal to the power to each other. So it's a great way to single off and fight things, but with the recursion ability of bringing cards like this back, it can be a great card to have inside of a deck, and it's a very affordable price right now. The number 8 card this week is a surprising entry, and that is Balduvian Trading Post. This is a card of my channel. I do buy this card myself every month, and the uptick in price is very minimal with a great utilitarian purpose inside red decks. Now, with 34 sales this week and an average price of only $5.89, a market price of $7.08, €3.61 to get this card into your house, and here in Canada it goes for about $8. This card's a little more interesting from Alliances because when it says when Balduvian Trading Post comes into play, sacrifice an untapped mountain or bury the trading post. Now this land itself taps for 1 red and 1 generic, but it has the added ability of 1 and tap. Balduvian Trading Post deals 1 damage to target attacking creature. That may not seem like a great ability, but when you use that with Desert or other things that can ping for 1 point, you can actually deal a lot of damage or very selective damage inside of a commander game. Great card to keep an eye on, and if you're looking to buy a copy, under $10 is amazing. Number 7 this week is Retribution of the Meek. I have mentioned this card a few times on Card Walk. This card is from Visions. I said Card Walk, Card Watch, my apologies. And it's from Visions with 35 sales this week. It continues to hang under the $10 mark. It's a really affordable card, but what it can do for decks is amazing because it has the ability to bury all creatures with power 4 or greater. So it's a very selective kill spell targeting heavier creatures, which means you can build under that and make sure your deck has the ability to really survive onslaughts of cards while building up your own army and taking care of those big beasties when they come into play. Number 6 this week is the Tithe, and this one is a surprising entry as well. Continued strong sales this week brought it over 47 sales. This card has an average price of $23.70, a market price of $20.87, and it's €23 to get this card into your house. Here in Canada, this card's actually still $40, pretty overpriced. It is cheaper to find cards like this on TCG Player, and I'll take this moment to ask you guys that if you were going to do any purchases on TCG Player, please consider using my affiliate link found in the description of all my videos. All you have to do is click on that link. It'll take you to TCG Player, and anything you decide to buy on there, the Moxman's channel here gets a kickback of 3.5%, and I really appreciate everyone who takes the time. Now, this card, Tithe, has a single casting cost of 1 white mana, but it says as an instant, search your library for a Plains card. If you control fewer lands than target opponent, you may search your library for an additional Plains card, reveal them, and put them into your hand. Now, as an instant, you can use this at the end of somebody's turn, and the fact it's a target opponent means it can be selective inside commander games. This is an amazing card. It should not be as cheap as it is, but players are starting to notice that, and they've been picking this card up, so keep an eye on it. If it's a card you wanted, now is the time to strike. Number 5 this week is Fastbond. Now this card is starting to worry me a little bit. I'm going to explain why. The continued sales and the limited playability of this card has me wondering why so many copies are being bought from so many different locations. I've seen this in the past, and this usually comes on an unbanning or people thinking about an unbanning. So if somebody believes this card is going to become unbanned and they start to stock up and speculate on the card, they're slowly accumulating massive amounts of copies from various locations at lower price points. And it's always been my fear that, if somebody finds out or knows ahead of time something becomes unbanned, yeah, it's a tinfoil hat thing, and then this card shoots up to $100, that all of a sudden this person controls a very large majority of these cards. Keep that stuff in mind. It's an unregulated market. So if there's ever reserveless cards you want to buy, you should always buy them when you think they're the cheapest and hold on to them long term if you plan on playing with it. For speculation purposes or future investing, knowing a card's going to be going up kind of gives you an edge, right? So it's a tinfoil hat thing, but it's just too many times now that this card's been going up. So I just want to comment on that because it's not normal for this card to sell this many week over week and almost into like the next month. So it's been 4 weeks. This has been on the top 10 in case you guys didn't know. And you can look back and it's always in the 50 to 60 sale range. And these cards are going for anywhere from $8, $9 on things like TCG Player, and some local places had it for like 10, 12 bucks Canadian near mint. But those got bought this week. So I'm kind of like, who's buying all these cards? Now, number 4 this week, another entry that just came shooting out of the blue is Lake of the Dead. Alliances with 65 sales this week. Now, this card is under the $100 mark. Things like TCG Player have it lightly played for $80. This card, I knew was it's always been a great card. The artwork is iconic. But I knew the sales would start to shift when it hit below $100. And now it is really kind of picking up in sales. Again, it's a variety of locations. It's not a single spot. It's not one person buying a whole bunch of copies. It's a lot of people buying individual small sales volumes. So this card really has come up a little bit, and you can see from the price point, $95.57 is your average. The market price is $94.98, and of course €66.58 to get this card into your house. Here in Canada, it's around $120 for a near mint copy, but you can find moderately played for like $75 Canadian, and of course on TCG Player, $80 lightly played translates to just about $100. So this card's falling in very fairly across the US and Canadian markets. Now the number 3 card this week is Spectral Guardian with 68 sales this week. Pardon me, everyone. This card has an average price of $2 US. The market price of $1.81, and of course it's €1.18 to get this card to your house. It's around $5 here in Canada. And Spectral Guardian says 2 white, 2 generic. As long as Spectral Guardian is untapped, non-creature artifacts cannot be the target of spells or effects. So this is like a version of Guardian Beast from Arabian Nights, another card you can kind of use. And this card was a buyout card on my channel. We had a little bit of fun on the wheel, and a lot of people decided to buy this card because it was 80 cents on TCG Player. When cards are that cheap, I like to accumulate a few extra copies just in case I want to build decks or have some fun with this card later on. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the number 2 card this week. And again, it's hanging in there, and that is Conch Horn. 98 sales this week. Average price $4.96 US. The market price is $4.97 US. €4.38 to get this card to your house. $6 here in Canada. And this card, I know why it's being bought. There's the same person buying it week after week. That's amazing. They're accumulating a lot of copies. It's coming from the same type of source, and it's going to the same place. So this is kind of interesting to see, but this card can be used anywhere. It's a generic artifact, 2 casting costs, 1 tap and sacrifice the Conch Horn, draw 2 cards, and then put any 1 card from your hand back on top of your library. It's a brainstorm for any deck, an amazing card. If it ever shoots back up again, I mean, it's been as high as $15. Don't be surprised at one point this card hits the $20 level deep into the future when the reserve list, if ever, turns around. Now, the number 1 card this week is Lodestone Bobble with 129 sales, and this card also is from Alliances. Now, this card, when we take a closer look, it says 0 casting cost, 0. Cards like this are amazing. 0 can mean so many things in artifact decks, but it also has playability factor. 1, tap and sacrifice the Lodestone Bobble to put 4 target basic lands from any player's graveyard on top of his or her library in any order. That player draws a card at the beginning of your next upkeep. So if you just want to draw a card, it's 1, draw a card. But when you do land destruction or you're blowing stuff up, or if for some reason a lot of cards have ended up inside of a player's graveyard that are basic lands and you just want to slow them down, this card's amazing. And look at the price tag on a card like this. It's less than $5, $3.80. The market price is $3.55, and it's €3.77 to get this card into your house. Here in Canada, $5 a card. So when you're thinking about a card like Lodestone Bobble, and you see the amazing cards I've shown you on the list, and all the cards that aren't on the list that are making sales, this entire trend overall this week is a total kind of shift. And a lot of it happened on Friday. And I think that's because with the Lord of the Rings One Ring being found, people just decide not to buy more Lord of the Rings right now, and they've shifted some of their funds to other things that they intended on buying anyway. They just bought it a little bit faster. So I don't know if this trend is going to continue into next week for the reserve list cards. I'll be keeping a close eye on the market and let you guys know next week how things are coming on. And of course, if anything really shifts quickly, I'll mention it inside of a card watch video on Thursday or Friday. So thanks again for tuning in today. I really hope you guys all enjoyed the video. I'm sorry about the voice a little bit. I've done a lot of videos in a row over the last day and a half, and it's just kind of, I think it's taken a toll on the voice. So thanks again for tuning in. Thanks for allowing me to entertain you each and every day. For all the new people hitting that subscribe button and joining the channel, commenting, thumbs up, and notification bell on for my daily videos, it's amazing. And we are getting closer to 20,000 subscribers. So thanks again to all of you for helping make this possible. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have an awesome day. Look at all these amazing people right now. You're seeing up on your screen. These are the patrons of the channel, the supporters who make this content possible each and every day. So to the patrons out there, thanks again for that continued support. It means a lot to me to have this kind of support around me for the channel. Awesome. Patrons rock. I don't know, man. Something's going on with the throat. I don't feel bad at all, but I wonder if that air quality stuff going on right now with the forest fires here in Canada, because I don't feel bad, but man, it's like you have a frog in your throat every once in a while. I had to keep coughing. I didn't bring a coffee with me this morning. Horrible. But thanks a lot for making it to the end of the video. Actually, my voice feels okay at the moment. So overall, for those who stick around to this point, to the ramble, jamble, nachos and cheese section, sales are up across the board. Okay, a whole bunch of dual lands sold. I assume that's the gentleman. They haven't told me, but they're always buying 5, so I assume that's them. Large sale, but not enough to make the list because so many of our cards shifted up. And there's a whole bunch of minor cards that almost made the list. And there's been a real kind of surge of a whole bunch of common buying from some older Magic sets. So I'm keeping an eye on that. I'll let you guys know how that pans out in the future. There's a lot of shifting sands right now, and I think a lot of it is because of Lord of the Rings. So we'll have to see. I need to see like at least 2 weeks of data to really kind of add things up. And it's a lot more to track than normal. So I'm going to have a lot of holes in what I'm trying to track. But it's interesting stuff to see happen. So for all you reserve list lovers out there, enjoy it because it's kind of funny. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have an awesome day. And thanks for hanging out with me in the green screen. Right here. I'll shift it. Ready, ready, ready? Oh, 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 oh. I know. Green screen action. Yeah.